Why? God. Okay, well, I'm kind of struggling to get all my tech together just because I came in a little late. I came in hot. Came in hot, but a little late. Well, we'll see how hot. Well, there's plenty of room on my mantle for just about any kind of award. Thank you. I'll share it. Peak too soon. Peak too soon. Like, like, like all child actors. I'm still bitter. I'm still bitter. You know what I'm bitter about? You know what I'm bitter about? Okay. Oh, well, we're recording right now. Well, get on it.
That's it. And we're recording another Fabulous Nothing.
And we're recording.
Episode
Yes,
3.
we are. Oh! I just dropped my recorder. That
Jesus,
should
get
help.
your shit together.
I think.
Hi.
It's together.
Really?
So,
wow. How'd you know that?
I think
How?
back to the conversation was why am I still bitter?
Oh yeah. Yes, please. Why are you still
Yeah,
about what?
because I would just like to say that the play that we did together, Morning
Yes.
Becomes Electra, 1992. I think everyone was mentioned for the Stranger Drama Awards except my performance. Do you recall that? Every single performance in the production except mine. Yeah, still bitter. Have not forgotten it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Still
yeah.
bitter.
I mean, I can say I'm sorry about that, if that's what you want to hear.
No, I think it's just anything other than sounds about right. I think yeah.
Look, you were great. You were so great.
No,
Oh,
forget
come
it.
on,
It's too
you
late.
were. You know what?
No, I was
I didn't
pretty
want
great.
to tell you because I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but I have an award right here for you for that performance. I put it together.
Really?
Yes. I was thinking about it last night.
Really?
Yes.
I'll wait
Yeah,
for
of
it.
course I don't.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, so here we
Yeah.
go. So you want to do this by looking at each other again?
I mean,
or
I
not?
see
What do
you
want?
now, and it feels weird not to, so I'm going to try doing that. It seems like the flow right now with the video is good. Like, it seems like a real
Okay.
conversation, so I think it's good.
Great.
And these
Okay,
headphones,
good.
do you like them?
I like them. I love
They're
them.
featured heavily in my dance videos, you may know.
I think I have noticed that.
How many have you watched? Really?
How many have I
honestly.
watched? I've watched probably 10,
Okay,
15.
great. Out of
20.
400 and something.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
I feel that's probably like a
Which
par
is-
for course. Everyone's like, I love your dance videos. The 10 I've seen. Oh, okay. I mean, that's good.
Yeah,
Everyone's busy, I
it's-
know.
yeah, it's somewhere where I am with Grey's Anatomy, actually. I've
Grey's
only
Anatomy.
watched
And
a
circling back
portion.
to thank you to those who are following. Grey's Anatomy, yes, please.
Yeah, still, I'm a few more episodes into that.
That's good.
I mean, I've watched more of that than your dances since we last spoke. There, I just said it.
I'm sorry, I just had to like.
I'm watching.
No, I was thinking about something else.
No,
What did you
I
say?
know. No. Sorry, what was
I'm
that?
sorry. Wow.
yeah.
I didn't hear that. I'm pretty sure. So
Okay, let's just move on from there.
yeah, they really need the viewership at this point. God.
Residuals.
Yeah, they don't have
Yeah.
enough. You know how much I make on these
No,
videos? You know how much I've
probably.
made? Nothing. Not even a sponsorship
Oh,
on Instagram.
so you know what I heard
What?
recently, because I have a friend who's in an ugly battle to try to get royalties from a series
Yeah.
he did, is that the entire cast of Gilligan's Island got nothing in
Yeah.
residuals.
I know, that's true of that whole, like
You
a
know
whole
that?
generation of those people. Yeah. It's insane to think about.
I think it came out when Marianne
Yeah.
died recently.
You're like, how's that possible? Well, you know how it's possible? Contracts and labor.
You know how it's possible? Labor
Yeah,
rights
that's
or
right.
lack thereof.
Because nobody,
Why unions not just a good idea.
yeah, right? Because you know
Yeah.
what? You got other shit to think about. And
mess.
unions are there to help you with the bigger picture. You know, like they were doing a show, they were having a great time. They were getting paid, I'm sure, very well for that time. So in nowhere in their mind are they thinking, how is this going to be monetized in the future? And what does my future look like? I mean, maybe.
But because I think there were some savvy operators. That did that.
Some. But like the people who didn't have those contracts, like I'm saying the union
Yeah,
is there
yeah.
to represent those parts of
That's
the
true.
things they're not thinking about. That it shouldn't be their
Yeah,
responsibility.
when you're not
to think
Lucille
about.
Ball.
I mean, in some
Yeah.
way. I mean,
Yeah.
your future's your future,
Yeah.
but like when you do a job, your payment for that job should just be fair. And so that's fair. Residuals are fair because people are still making money. So you would just think, okay, that's fair. And and that's what the union's
Yeah.
there to do, like at its best.
Yeah. Now, have you gone union? Did you ever go equity?
No. Would I go equity? Hell no.
I'm hell to
Yeah.
the no.
Because of the way
Okay,
it's
great,
set up
got it.
right now, it would be stupid for me to go equity because most of the work that I do is my own or is with people that I want to work with because I do work that I want to do.
And you call it work,
Yeah,
right?
I do.
You call
Yeah,
it work?
I do.
Okay, just checking because work usually means you're getting paid.
Ouch.
So
Welcome to
I'm just-
America.
We've got a new president, but some things just
Some
don't.
things. Want to name the things that have changed?
A bunch of them. Yeah.
I was down in Ballard the other day and nothing's changed there. And I bet nothing has changed downtown either. I can tell you there's still people living in Woodland Park. I went for a walk. And it's like,
Give it a few days. I mean, maybe by Monday.
I'm just too, gosh darn it, I'll sit back for a second.
If you
Yeah,
will.
right.
So today's topic.
Yeah.
Did you want to take on the big one, or the next one? I
Yeah,
should
we
say.
can.
It's probably the next
I
one.
need
right?
you to. Why don't you lead me through it? Because my
Sure.
understanding of the story, I'm so in it. I don't know what needs to
Yeah.
be framed. So help me with what you're interested in. Maybe
I'll ask you
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, I'll ask you questions. So one of the things that happened when we kind of found each other on social
Mm-hmm.
media is that there I am on the Instagram, and I start following
Mm-hmm.
you because it's Stephen Hando. I don't know exactly how that happened, or you followed me, but think
I don't
followed you.
remember.
And but in any event, there you are, and then you're doing little dances in Mexico, and I wonder why he's in Mexico. Why? I mean, we hadn't been in touch
Yeah,
for
a long
20
time, yeah.
years, but I thought, I wonder why he's in Mexico. So I reached out to you, and then you reached back, and then I think at some point in that conversation, that very small conversation, you said that you were no, we actually spoke, and you kind of laid out that the reason you were down there, in part, was because you had had some trouble with crystal
that's
meth.
right.
And I think you kind of gave me the really short, abbreviated version of how
Yeah.
that happened. And it really got my interest because, first of all, I'm just one of those people that's always interested in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Really interested in everything. Like if you're going to dissect a cat, I'm glad
Yeah,
to be
me
there.
too, me
If
too.
you're going to tell me what happened to your grandmother, I'm just
Yeah, me
interested.
too.
Which is
Absolutely. It's a good
interesting.
way to be a
Which is
person.
why I became an
Right.
artist. Why I became an artist, and why I'm a priest, actually. So
Yeah.
it's just like I'm actually interested. And so, and I've had a couple friends over the years who've had some experience with crystal meth, and I'm just really interested. How did it happen for you?
Sure.
Like, were you one of those folks that used drugs and then that was the next drug, or that was a whole new thing?
No, it's a
or
really
what?
different. The way I got to it is a little bit. So growing up, I didn't do drugs. I did my first pot when I got to college, and smoked pot casually. And pot, like the one thing I would say off and on. I can say now that I'm a stoner. Like, I can hang with stoners. I know the stoner language. I know how to be in the world stoned. Like, oh my God, I'm a stoner, which I never thought I would be. Because growing up, I was like, I'll never smoke. I'll never do drugs, and I'll never drink. And it's just like, I had my ball, like knocking them off the wall, like, pew, got it. So, but it had been pot. I'd done some ecstasy, but never anything heavy like heroin or K or anything like that. Ecstasy is about as far into that world that I'd gone. A couple times, right? Never cocaine even. Like I'd done
Yeah.
cocaine twice. And it was so Woody Allen. Like I totally felt like that. I was like, phew, oh my God, sorry. What do I do with this line? All of it? Do I do all of it?
Wait, what? Up
What?
where?
Oh my God, does anyone else feel hot a little bit? That's it, right? That's the thing? Is that what I'm feeling? Okay. Yeah, I like it. It's good.
That's an expensive way. Just turn up the heat.
I keep drinking. Can I drink like this all night? I just never feel anything? That's amazing. But then wait a second. Why am I drinking if I don't feel... Well, it doesn't matter. Let's go. We're having fun, right? So that's...
You have to know what drug is your drug,
For sure,
though, right?
for sure, right? And so for me, drinking really more than pot. But then, I don't know if you came at the story this way. I went through that period, I think I've talked about it a little bit, for 3 years where I was, 3, 4 years where I was suicidally depressed.
Now tell me about that.
Yeah,
And
that's
when
deep.
was that and why?
Well, yeah, that's a lot. It ended up, think about 4 or 5 years ago. I really need to get these dates right. It doesn't matter too much, except that it's about 4 or 5 years ago. Preceding that, there were about 4 years, like 3 years, that I went into a suicidal depression where every day I woke up and said, today's the day I'm going to kill myself. And yeah,
Oh,
and I was so dead inside. Like I would go to parties when I would. I stopped calling people. All my friends got me together and I signed a suicide pact that I wouldn't gonna kill myself, like you agree and I'm gonna get you together. And in my head, I went away and I threw it away. As I was signing it, I knew what I was doing. I knew the game that everyone was, not game, but like, I knew how to be in that moment and say, yes, I do. But knowing in my head, like, this isn't gonna change anything. And everyone's like, go to a therapist. And I would go to a therapist. And I would sit at the therapist and she would say things. And I would be a good patient because I'm smart. And I'd say, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel great. And then sometimes I'd go, I'm going to kill myself, don't you? This whole thing is like, I'm here because my friends want me to be here. And so we're just kind of walking through this. Sorry. And in my head, I would say, because you hear the messages like, there's always a way out. But maybe everyone feels this way. But I feel like maybe because I feel like I'm smart or whatever, I'm like, yeah, but not for me. Like how I feel about therapy. Although I think it can be good. Often I feel like I'm smarter than the therapist, and so I'm kind of like working around. Like I see what you're doing, so I'm gonna I'll play the game and I'll knock it this way. And you're not gonna really get to me, right? Oh crap! I lost the thread on that thought. Um,
okay. Hold on. Why the thread is lost? Let's do a 1, 2, 3 clap.
oh yeah, my God, right?
Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Got it. So back to the thread. Now I've really lost it. I was talking about my depression, and so got to that place where I was just dead inside. That was the point, really. Um, and I was introduced, and a lot of my friends, I didn't know what it. I mean, I didn't really know what it was at the time. I can talk to some degree what it is because I figured out later what it is. It was a very practical thing that led me there. It started. I was doing the books for the theater company that I was a part of, as well as being the artistic director. I was,
Was
yeah,
that print?
Printer's
Was
Devil
that
Theater.
Printer's
Yep.
Devil? Yeah.
I'm not going to get myself in trouble here because I didn't do anything really wrong, but we had enough money in the bank.
We can also
Yeah,
take this out.
but I think it's okay.
So,
But
whatever.
there was enough money in the bank, and so I wasn't. I would reconcile them, but I could reconcile it quarterly and be fine because it's like we always had a float. You know what I mean? So I was doing my duty, but I wasn't like every day at the ledger. And then we did a show, and I got so we had all the contracts signed and everything, and I got the bank statement, and I was like, oh my God, there's not enough money. We don't have enough money. I was the only one looking at the books, and I didn't want to tell anybody, and so I didn't. And then time went on, and the show was coming, and I just started slowly dying inside. And then at work, I started letting things go. Like there was one instance where I was working at a job that I won't talk about, but let's say it was an important thing I didn't do, and the person kept calling back saying, "This is very important," and I'd be like, I'm working on it, and I just didn't do it, and I put the paper under the pile until the next time the person called. Every time in my gut, thinking I've done, and then dropping other things too. So really, for me, it was like I got to the point where I was like, I cannot undo what I've done.
Even though you weren't quite clear why you started the
Right,
first
right. No,
problem.
I knew the very first one
Yeah,
was a
right.
practical one. I mean, I think it's all, we can come back a little bit, but the first one was a practical one where I was like, there's not enough money in the bank. I wasn't careful.
So it's just as you described
Yeah,
it. It's
exactly,
just
right?
practical.
And so, but then it
Yeah.
gets to the point
Okay.
where I'm like, why did I make those mistakes? Why did I start dropping stuff? Because it got to the point where I was like, I've done enough bad. And in reality, I could have gone back and stepped back, and people tried to get me to step back and say, what is going on? What can we do to help? But I was like, it's beyond help. Raising money for a theater is beyond help if you really need it? No. Right? I mean, really. But it's beyond I was like, I don't want to start that problem. I don't want to start that trouble. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't cautious. And I didn't want to face the reality. And it's not that big a reality, but it felt like one. And then other things were dropping. And it got to the point where I was like, well, I can't undo what I've done. I can't go on like this. What's the next step when you fucked up this hard? And for me, I realized later, growing up, I was always afraid of the other shoe dropping. I was such a good kid, but part of being a good kid is like being.
What were you afraid
What's
of?
that?
What
The
were you
other
afraid of?
shoe dropping. You know what I mean? Like, part of being a good kid is fear. Because you're afraid you're going to do wrong and what will happen when you do wrong. You know what I mean? A good kid who is like rigidly a good kid. You know, those children, I think, are in fear because they don't understand what happens when something goes wrong. You know?
Just
Yeah.
just to put a pin in it for just
Yeah.
a moment. Totally get it. Totally
Yeah.
get it.
Okay.
Been like that. Been like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're just like, so I think, and then there's a series of pressures that were put on me that we don't really need to get into. But I think at the time, the theater thing broke, something inside me broke and said, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Let the shoe drop. Not consciously, but I'm thinking like, what happened? I think my system was just tired of being the caretaker, tired of being the one who was on top of everything all the time. Thought he was. I was getting my own.
Like like for instance, why were you the one
Right.
supposed to be looking at the books?
Right. Because
Like,
everyone.
everyone else is too feckless.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
But I was me. It wasn't them. That's like human nature. Because I said I'll handle it, and then everyone could have thought, well, you're the artistic director, but you really shouldn't be both. But in just human nature to be like, well, that's one thing that's not on my plate, right? I mean, if it's just like running a theater, like you're like, and my job and everything, so that's nobody's fault. That's me, not wanting to make trouble, because you know no one really wants to do it, right? So you're like, I'll handle it, because it's not that hard. Because the way the situation was when I took it over, it wasn't. Because we had donors who were consistent. We'd get a match. We always had money in the bank. So it was really like, just put accounts receivable, accounts payable, make sure everything gets paid, enter it into whatever. So then when that fell apart, but that's like the kind of responsibility I would just take on. Not knowing the cost it was taking on me, right? Not accounting for that. Just assuming I can handle everything. Not in a proud way, but like, I got it. You know, I'm not the perfect person, but that's my tendency, is to be the one who'll take the hit. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay. I know how hard that is. God, my God, no, it's okay. I got it. So I think my system just went like, forget about it. Because there's some really, really big ones that I had on my back at the time. And my system, I think, just said, forget about it, you know? And then, so, anyway, to get back to the point that we're trying to drive to. This goes on. I become a person you do not recognize as me. I would go to parties and I would sit there because I'm sitting inside of that depression or this deadness. It wasn't even really depression, really. It was a deadness. Because I wasn't depressed about anything specifically. I was just hopeless. So I'm sitting inside of that, knowing who I am, and looking around me as if you are sitting inside of a car that you're not driving and watching where you're going and going like, what are we going? This is not who I am, but I'll never be that person again. And you're locked, and this is forever. It's like you're in prison in a way. The loneliness that you feel when you're depressed, you can't express it because the depth that I was at, I'd lost my ability to communicate with anybody because I couldn't tell them what was going on really practically. I couldn't tell them, and then what that cause was, right? So you're so lonely, and you're sitting inside this car, driving around all these streets, alone. There's nobody behind the wheel, and it's foggy out, you know? And you see your friends going to a party, you know? And it's like terrifying. So I'm in that. And then a thing happens. I was introduced to meth, and I don't need to talk about why. It was there, and at that point, I was like, why not? Why not? I'm gonna die anyway. It's there.
And is there a reason you don't want to talk about
Yeah,
how you were
there is.
introduced to it?
Yep.
Because if this is going to be an after-school special, we need a couple of scenes with some peer pressure.
No, there's
Some
no peer pressure. That much
We
I can
need
say.
some-
Actually, you know what? And it's really important I do say this. It is important that I do say this. I don't need to talk about what happened, but I'm going to say, for those people who may have an idea, there was never any peer pressure. It was never introduced to me. I was the one who approached it, and I'm the one who said, yeah, like, why not? So it was,
And one other question
Yeah.
on that, and please answer honestly, answer. or
Yeah,
not
of
on
course,
all
I
these.
understand that.
But was it? Oh, this might be a way out of the
Nope.
depression, or I got nothing to lose,
Yep.
so why not?
exactly.
More the
Yes,
latter.
the latter. And I took it, and
Yeah.
I felt something, and then I started to get better over a series of time. I got a job, which was very helpful, and they were great people, and I was working at Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, so I was doing a very useful thing. I had to be present for people. That was a part of me that I couldn't kill. And when, you know what I mean? Like, I did a show when I was depressed, and it was the only time I felt alive. I was doing a Scott Augustin shadow puppet play. I played Chicken Jenny, this character I'd done many times before. I would get on stage, not on stage, but I would start talking, and then I'd feel alive. And then it would stop, and I'd be like, "Bleh." Yeah. But I could, but my performances I got great reviews. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring that back around.
It's not
I
all
didn't
about
wanna
the
say
reviews.
that.
It's not. Yeah. Thanks. No. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
I didn't win an award or anything, so don't.
No. They wonder why I left the theater. It's because I left because I was disgusted, and the reviews were bad.
You never
So,
got
yeah,
reviews,
go ahead.
that's the thing.
No. Just oh god. Just
So how can they be bad? Anyway,
people have to care enough to hate
right?
you,
They
and
didn't
they
even
don't.
notice you. So you know what I mean? You still had a shot. You didn't ruin your reputation. You never had one.
All right. Let's get back to the
Sorry.
topic.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
my
this is enough.
Matthews. Sorry about that.
Yeah, please.
Distraction. Oh, look at that.
You're the messed up
Oh,
one.
yeah.
You're the
That's
messed
right.
up one,
Thank
not
you.
me.
Let's keep the focus on the problem.
Jeez,
On the drug
please,
addict.
please.
Anybody else but me. Anyway, I'm the recovering drug addict here, so let me talk.
If you wouldn't mind.
Your problems, really? You didn't win an award? I almost died from
really?
drug overdose. No.
Street cred.
Thank you.
Go.
Really? Don't think I don't have it. I do.
Did you have a street name? Do you have a street name?
No.
They didn't
No,
give
you don't
you
get
one
a
in prison?
street name. What shows are you watching?
I just told you, Grey's Anatomy. There's a lot of
street names.
crying and skinny girls crying.
This crazy gang in Seattle, this meth head gang in Seattle, and everyone had nicknames. They were like Shimbo and Jimmy Sack.
Didn't you just tell me in a coded way that your street name was Chicken
Chicken
Jenny?
Jenny,
Didn't
no.
you just say
No, there's no code names. Who do you need a code name with? Your dealer, you know.
that? You tell me you're the drug addict. You
Oh,
tell
wow.
me.
Wow. Is this an intervention, this whole podcast?
It's a harassment.
Okay, so you don't have street names. God. So let's say, okay. So I started using more. My life improved, and I wrote an article for The Stranger within a year of that, talking about how I was saved by my job and by my partner at the time, my husband. The element I did not understand, and certainly didn't put in the article, but I didn't know when I wrote the article, was, oh my God, wait a second. I started using meth. That helped.
Wow, that's not an article you read a lot.
What?
That's not an article you read a lot.
No.
That people.
And it's one I want to
find
write.
meth
And we're
mixed.
talking about it now, and it's one that I would be very careful about writing. Because it's not the answer. It's not to say like doing meth is the way out of depression, but it got me out. But the thing is,
Yeah,
here,
but you can create art that's descriptive,
of course,
not prescriptive.
of course. And then you podcast that nobody listens to, and then you've got your story out.
I'm not even
Right, I
listening
know,
to
right?
this.
Me
Go
neither.
ahead.
What was I even talking about? So, oh crap! I did lose my thread. That was a good one. I ate some edibles before the show, about an hour before, just so you know. Sometimes I might trail off a bit. I may
Okay,
be
got
getting
it.
high. So
Okay, good.
I'm still a drug addict, okay? Wow, your face. If they could see your face, Father. Get me back on track. We were talking about, seriously.
No, we were talking about that you wrote the article.
Right.
For the
So I wrote the
Stranger,
article for The
and it's
Stranger.
something you
I did
write
not include
again,
that point.
or
I didn't
you write.
understand it. I wouldn't want to say to somebody, meth is the way out of depression, but it was the way out for me. But it almost killed me too, right? It saved my life and almost destroyed my life. So it's not like a fail-safe method by any stretch. But I can't say that it didn't help me. I can't say that meth doesn't feel great at times, right? My thing about meth now that I say is like, it feels great for the first 4 hours you do it. and then the rest of your life you're thinking about where am I going to get my next bag, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and you do it again, and you're like, all right, you got a good hour maybe, and then you're like, oh my God, I gotta like, especially during COVID, right? Because you're like, how do you get to your dealer? Well, oh God, are you available? I'm gonna wait downstairs, but I don't want to wait very long because that neighborhood's not great, and the people do not seem like they're happy right now. So, are you coming? Or because I'm gonna head back home actually on the bus. I can't wait. But I gotta. Do you have
Yeah.
anything? That right? Ooh. And it got to the point. Yeah,
And-
go ahead.
Is crystal one of those things that breaks you as far as like money? Is it expensive? I mean,
Yes,
was
I mean
was
you'll
that a thing?
see. The thing that it does, it's not super expensive. It's not. It wasn't. It got more expensive during COVID. It's not super expensive. Like cocaine, I think can break you financially because it's super expensive. And if you get a bad
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up a
oh,
little
I said
bit.
cocaine.
You kind of broke
Yeah,
up.
cocaine can break you, I think, because it's very expensive. If you have a heavy cocaine habit, that's very expensive. But meth is relatively inexpensive. The thing that meth does, though, it's a total reward system. So you lose your sense of like work equals reward. You're just constantly getting.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm sorry, but you're breaking up. Can you take your video
Yeah.
off and see if
Oh,
that clears
wow,
out
you're tired
the
of
transmission?
looking-
Because you're no, never tired.
No. Is that better? Is that better?
We'll see.
Okay.
So I had asked you if meth was expensive, and you had said,
No.
"Is meth that
No,
expensive?"
it's not. Meth is not expensive. Meth is relatively inexpensive. It got a little more expensive during COVID, but it is actually relatively inexpensive. The thing where it starts to ruin people's lives is that it is constantly rewarding you, so you lose your sense of like doing things for a reward. Any work, the way that it works in our bodies, I think, is like we work hard, and then there's like some boost that you get in your body when you've done it. You run out, you work out, you know what I mean? You do good things, you feel a boost of like, oh, I achieved something or something like that. So you get this physical reward. When you're doing math, that reward is given to you constantly as long as you have math. So your body's ability to produce that reward, because work sucks, right? Working hard sucks. So the nice thing about working hard mostly is that you work hard and then you feel good. But if you lose your connection between working hard and feeling good, if working hard never can give you, because your body you're getting it in the body all the time. So your body loses its ability to like make that stuff because meth is basically giving you that stuff all the time. So then work becomes just work. Right? And so you're like,
I
why
see.
do it?
Yeah.
And you can sustain and put up with a lot in life if you stop caring.
You mean? Oh, when you stop
Yes.
caring, you just like
Yes.
whatever.
Look at like
It doesn't
the
matter.
places people live, the way their rooms look like, the style of life that they have. I was there, you know what I mean? I'm not out of judgment, but like when you stop caring,
Who they're involved
who
with?
they're involved with,
Yeah.
and it's easy to sustain at that level. You think like, oh, you just dropped to rock bottom. Well, no, actually, you can live. There's areas of like flight pattern in the in the air that are pretty low, but they're still flying. Because you can make it. You know what I mean? Like the human spirit will take it once given those drugs. Because you just like it, the balance system that we have of like work and reward and all this shit that we're trying to like always try to stay on top of, this mess that is our bodies, that is our sort of like chemical neurological system. When you start screwing with that, then the delicate balance of like what it is to be a person is kind of messed up, right? Because you're like, how could you possibly live in that apartment? Well, if you don't care, you can get around, right? It's a roof over your head. It's warm enough. We got water, whatever. I'll do the dishes when they need to get done. There's a dish right there, right? Because you can do it.
Yeah.
But it's a very unpleasant way to live, and it's demoralizing, and then you just like your bills. You can get on credit companies, and then you just drop out of. You know what I mean? You start giving up work. You just don't go in. You're like, and then you can find ways to patch your shit life together, and then bills start coming, and then you get lost in the hole. And then yes,
No,
that's how I see
believe
it
you.
happening. You know, and there's many different paths people take, but like, how does a person who seems functioning, who doesn't seem like they're a mess, to start with. How do they end up down there? I think part of it, this is just my supposition as I'm exploring my own reactions to things, is that reward system getting screwed with so heavily. Because to work, it's hard to work. We don't want to. Naturally, as human beings, we'd rather not, right? But you get that reward, and you're like, oh, that becomes associated with something positive. I mean, that's I'm just trying to piece it together. I'm not a neurological scientist. I have no idea. But it seems to make sense to me that that's what's happening. And when you lose that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
pause here for just a second? You can go back on video if
Yeah.
you like, because it's fine. Whatever you'd like to do.
Hello.
Hello again. Because the deal is that even if you break up coming
Right,
to me,
we're good here.
I know you're getting a clear
Yep, I
recording.
am.
So
Yeah.
sorry about that. Yeah. Wow. Well, just to hear someone reflecting on what their own experience is and trying to come to conclusions about like how
Yeah.
does that work over time. Super interesting. So
Yeah,
thanks
absolutely.
thanks for walking me through
Yeah,
this.
and to talk about, I mean, it's just part of what I do. Like you say that you're interested in, I'm just interested. Like that's just part of the way my brain works. Like I think we're trained when you go to acting school to, if your predisposition is already towards being empathetic, then you go to school and you learn how to do it like professionally, how to really be empathetic. Like, well, what is that person's life like? We're all capable of it, but we don't let it in because it can be damaging, right? Because you're like, you don't want to, but when you are the kind of person that we are, and you go to training school, then you become hyper empathetic, and it can be very difficult. And then COVID happens, and you're on meth, and you're like, I can understand everybody's story. I think I can, or at least I can walk through their story and be like, look at her and her baby. That baby isn't wearing like, that's a nice stroller, but her shoes are, and clearly she's been working all day, and that baby, you know what I mean, blah, 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 blah. Because my brain is just like, wants to. Because I want to know how to approach them if I see them on the street, I guess, partly. And I want to know what my environment is to know if I'm safe. And then my brain drifts off from there a bit, right? Because I think we're all doing that. We all want to be safe. And so you want to look around you, see who's there. But the more you can really understand people, the more you can sort of think, well, that's that person's story, more likely than they're just angry and they're going to hurt me. Like, look at the bags he's got to carry. Like, that sucks. He's not coming after me.
Yeah.
He's got to, come on. Whatever, right?
Yeah, and I don't think when I'm on the street, I don't feel that sort of, or at least maybe it's really maybe I pushed it into a subconscious place, but I don't usually feel the scanning to be safe.
Really? Do you mean in yourself or in other
for whatever
people?
reason. Myself from other
Yeah,
people.
okay.
I usually don't feel that, which could be really speaking about my own privilege of being
Right.
white and being male and being large.
Right.
So
you don't feel,
it's just
this
different.
is interesting because I want to know what other people's perception is, and I don't know what it's like where you're at. When you go outside, does it still seem like people are scared?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the Bronx, and so people are fairly keep to themselves
Right.
usually,
Yeah.
except when they're not, in the sense of people are usually friendlier than you think they're
Right.
going
No,
to
I
be.
know that about New York. Yeah.
So I don't feel the scared thing, and I live in a place in the Bronx, where there's a lot of essential workers that actually live up here or travel through
Right.
here. So it's not much of an enclave. People have to figure out how to be out
Right.
anyway.
And-
So I bet there's more fear in beautiful parts of Seattle or beautiful parts
Yes,
of New
there
York.
is.
Downtown.
It's interesting. I wonder if this is true because I noticed like there's fear in Mexico City, but less than there is here. And you know where I felt the least fear? When I went out to my favorite motel, which is out off of I-5, the Days Inn. I love it. I would stay there because sometimes I would just have to get out of the living situation I was in. So I would go to a motel. You can get it for like $50 a night. And so I'd be away. And if I was using them, that was perfect because I could be there and try to get something going. Rarely did, but like whatever. But it was just like, and I love sleazy motels. I always have. And so this one's like back behind all these trucks and everything. It's like isolated, right? Like no, if you're there, like what are you doing here? Like what, you just walking by? Nobody's, and they mind their own business, right? The owner's like, It's like, you don't, they don't know. They do, and that's fine, right? Because they're just like, it's a service, and COVID's happening, whatever. But you just kind of like, I was living, right or wrong. But there were prostitutes, pimps, drug dealers, all this shit. There was a way of being there. People were masked up, or they would avoid you, but there was no tension about it. Because you know what I figured out? I think the first night of COVID, I'm like, when it's like, oh my God, I was driving up Aurora, walking up Aurora, actually, because I was in a motel that night too. And there's prostitutes out there, and I go, oh my God, the girls aren't going to stop working. They can't. But what I figured out later when I was at the motel, I was like, it's not in the pimp's interest for them to die either. So they got to figure it out.
True.
They got to figure it out for real. Like, what can we do? What can't we do? They don't know. They're doing the best they can, but it's not in their interest not to care. Because if they don't care, then their girls are going to die, potentially, right? So they got to figure it out. Like, well, no, you don't go whatever. She gives blowjobs, that's it. You keep your fucking head up. Whatever, right?
Or whatever. All the adjustments.
But there was a way of being there that was more relaxed. Because you're already starting in a place, like in the Bronx, I assume, where people are like, your business, right?
Well, but also, they have to go to work
Right.
anyway. Whether you can work, you can't clean rooms from
Right,
home.
exactly. And when you live in a neighborhood like the Bronx, I assume, you can't be up in everybody's business because you don't want to know. And it's like, right? So
Yeah, like today I went out because I had to meet someone in the neighborhood for a cup of coffee, and I come off the campus grounds, which are gated, and it's a very busy road, Fordham Road, and there's buses, and this guy gets off the bus. He kind of staggers towards me, and a young mom and her child kind of scamper past him because they've been on the bus with him.
They're like, I'm
And
out of here.
Yeah, exactly. He walks by me. He's masked. He takes down his mask and he starts vomiting against the university. And I think, oh God, I wonder what it was like on that bus.
And everyone's just got to be on the bus.
I'm all for being masked, but when you're trying to vomit in public, you really have to make a choice.
Yeah. You got to find a place. You go, I'm going to get as far away from people as I can manage. And look out, everybody, and make it a display that everyone knows there is an issue, so get away. Yeah, like, y'all, I'm serious. Move away. Okay? I'm trying to help you as much as I can.
In 2 languages.
That's right.
Yeah.
In one.
And I thought, the Bronx.
Right,
The
totally.
Bronx.
But then there's a universal language, right? Like, everybody knows panic. Everyone knows, like, right? I'm gonna throw up. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from, Ethiopia. Like, that guy's puking over there. Like, obviously he's sick. So.
Yeah, obviously.
But like in Seattle, in my neighborhood, I mean, there's still people out who are running around Green Lake, the local little area that running area, with no masks, like middle class white folks running around Green Lake. But there are enough people. Like, if you want to run and don't wear a mask, like, go. There's lots of places no one is. Right? Like, there's lots of places no one is. But you know where everybody is running? Fucking right here. So, like, bring a mask or go somewhere else. And I'm real hard on them. Like, if I'll go down there and I'm like, oh, we can talk about that later, but I have a lot of fun with them. But they're so scared because they, like, there's this enormous amount of privilege is being challenged. They can't deal with that. And everyone's just like, just like so scared walking up the street, And I can be a bitch, I know.
No, tell me when you started shouting too much at people on the street.
Too much?
You said that was kind of part of your.
You think I've established too much?
Maybe I should look at this.
I still shout at people on the street.
During your dances or just in
In
general?
general, sometimes. I mean, less than I used to. But if I'm seeing, like, it'll be down at Green Lake usually. Like, I've done this a couple times just in the last couple days, and I can't tell many people about this, so when they hear it, I'm okay, probably. I will see a young guy running towards me. He's across the street, like cocky young, like 23-year-old white guy. I'm not gonna, I don't know, people I can't handle. But, like, he's a dude, and he doesn't have his mask on. And so I start, like, doing some dancey, and, like, direct it at him. And, like, step up on him. Like, he'll try to run, and I'll walk in his path. And you know how guys get, like, which I know is a dangerous game to play. But he could tell he was a punk. So it was just like, I'm like, put your fucking mask on, dude. And he's like, So, I did that to a woman too, a young girl. I was like, "You're better than this. You're young. Come on." Right? Because what am I going to do? Spare her feelings? I don't hate.
No, I did it yesterday. I did it yesterday in a
Yeah.
park. I said, hey, if I have to mask up, you have to mask
Absolutely.
up.
It is. We're in a
And,
we're in a civil compromise of a society, and if the game isn't fair and you're not wearing it, like we have to modulate when. As long as somebody has it around their neck and they seem like they're aware of it, I'm not going to come at them. If someone is oblivious and has their head up and proud of it, and I don't see a mask around their neck
Yeah.
or like in their hand, you should be ready, right? You should be ready. It can't be like Thumbelina. Like you haven't figured out by now that you should be ready when you're walking around. Like, is it in your back pocket or front? Do you need a minute? Like get it together.
Because you know what?
What?
That little guy in the earphones is going to be shouting at you before you know it.
What? I know, right?
gonna be
That crazy
you.
little guy. And don't you think when I walk up the street, and that's why I wonder, like, is everybody afraid of everybody, or is everyone afraid of me? Because I walk up the street, I can't tell the difference, and it's kind of fun because I ride it anyway. Like I ride it and pretend. And this is a trick I learned before COVID. I would walk around like everyone's looking at me, and they think I'm cool as shit, right? You never check. Don't look back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right?
They're probably looking
Probably
at
looking at me.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing to do would be not to look back. That's the coolest thing. And so you do that.
If
And then
you're in
eventually you
junior
believe it.
high.
Eventually you believe it, right? And then eventually other people believe it. That's the trick. Right?
True. No, I totally agree.
Absolutely. Confidence is like
that is the
so
trick.
seductive. If someone has confidence, you go, what have they figured out? So the trick is just to trick yourself into confidence, right? Like, how do you do that? Well,
Yeah, and not care.
right.
Yeah.
And the only way to not care is to not care. But then how do you not care? Well, just don't care. Well, how do you not care, though?
So there you were not
Yeah.
caring because of Crystal. When did you
Oh, yeah.
care enough to think I need to stop Crystal?
The first time I quit for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, so first time I seriously tried to quit, I did for a while. I went to England to represent 1448, which is a theater organization here in Seattle, where they do bring the theater sort of community together to do these performances. And they have branched out, and there's one in Leicester and Wolverhampton in England. And they have a partnership, and I went. And so I went and performed in Leicester. And
And when
this
was this?
all these dates, right? Who knows?
Last
No,
year?
It was before COVID, like a year before COVID. So I was still using, and I was out of my depression, so I was living, but I was using. But I knew if I was going to go, I didn't want to, it was going to be difficult. I didn't want to get to Leicester and be like, I mean, you can do it. Like, I could have figured it out, but I didn't want to do that and be like, where's the drugs? I didn't want to bring them. And I thought, like, if I'm going to go, I'm going to represent. I'm going to represent. I'm going to be the best me that I can be at this point. And so I cleaned up, and for 4 weeks I was straight. I got there, I didn't use. I was angry a lot. I mean, I was like, Steve has got an edge to him, doesn't he? Well, yeah, a little bit. It cuts real close, real quick with him. I'll say.
People
Right,
bleeding.
totally. I'm so sorry about that. You know what I mean? Like, I was in a moment, I lost it. Sorry.
No, tooth bites usually heal pretty.
Yeah, right. Or you stay away.
I know a dog's mouth is cleaner, but it was
Yeah,
mine.
it was mine. It was
Sorry.
mine. Stay away if you're not interested. You've learned now, okay? That's a warning.
Good for you. Good for you.
You're still here talking to me? Cool. Anyway, but I cleaned up, right? And that was good. And then once I got back off, and then I had a flight back, and this is just stupid, like you can stand it. But my flight back got delayed. Then I was stuck in St. Louis, and there was a delay, and then whatever. And I didn't have a cigarette all day. So by the St. Louis, I'm like, how long is the delay? 3 hours? Can I go outside and smoke? Well, you'll have to go to security again, whatever. We don't know exactly when. I'm like, I wish I could go outside. I wish I could smoke right here. But I can't, so we're going to deal with it. So I get to Seattle, and I'm meet up, and then somebody I know, I'm like, hey, man, I just want to take a hit. I'd like to feel relaxed for a second. And then, dun, 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 you're on drugs again. Just like that. Because it's very difficult to, like, just hit it and be like, I'm good. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And that was every day
Yep,
for you.
every day. Every
Every
day.
day, every day. And usually in the morning
All day.
or whenever you.
You use it all day.
So you use repeatedly during the day. Yeah.
Yeah, the high
So
lasts, just
how
so you
many
know,
times?
the high lasts maybe like 4 hours. But then like
Okay.
I would say it crests like an hour or two. And then you start thinking, how am I going to hit it again? Where's that pipe? Bathroom. There's a bathroom downtown I could use, et cetera, et cetera.
And is this a smoking thing?
Yes, yes. And I'll say I
Okay.
smoked. I never shut up. And no, people get to where they get to. It's called, oh God, I've lost the word for it. I hate them so much. People who shoot up. There's a name for it, but whatever. I never went down that path because I don't like needles, thankfully. I think that's really mainly it. But I also saw, like, not doing it right away because of my needle thing. I was able to see people who were doing it slamming. That's the term, slamming. Being with people who I liked who were doing it, but saw the change that happened to them when they slammed. Like when you smoke, and especially if you smoke every day, like I could maintain and I could be me and I could like let loose, but I was able to control myself because I learned to be a daily addict. So I was like controlling myself all the time, and then I'd like hit more, but I could still like control myself and respect people and be present as much as you can. But when you slam, there's a part of you could see it in people's eyes. It would be like, pew. They're there, but I might as well
Now,
be a wall ornament, but they're fucking, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
right,
it's
right.
like, so
Yeah.
that was unattractive to me. And they'd always be like a half an hour, like, let me just, and you're like, I'm kind of losing my thing that we had going. Is it going to be another 15, 20 minutes? Don't get blood on my bathroom.
Oh my
Right?
Lord.
So that's like off. It's just ugly. And then no judgment, but it is just like, I was like, ooh. And once you go down that road, it's very, 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 very hard to come back.
Yeah. Now, I have two other questions
Yeah.
for you that are kind of related. And the first one is, I don't think they're nested, but so you and I knew each other doing theater together in
Yep.
Seattle. And it was at a time when there was, a lot of theater, which there will be again, I'm sure. But there was a lot of theater, and we were doing a lot of, non-equity stuff, a lot of stuff in bars, that sort of thing, different kind of theater. And there were a group of us that would all know each other at the time. And then as you got into crystal meth, were a lot of your friends from that set doing
No.
it, or is there more crystal meth being done than I would suspect
There's more.
in Seattle?
There's more
or-
being done in town than you would know. I wouldn't say wasn't my experience in the theater community. That wasn't my. I didn't connect with people in that community.
Oh, okay.
But there are more people doing it than you would know, and there are people doing it you would never guess. Never
Sure.
guess.
I'm-
There are
I'm
lots
sure
of
that's the
functioning
case.
addicts like myself, even more highly functioning than I am. People who've been doing it for years and years and years, and you maintain. And then there are people who are weekend warriors, which is like where you just use it on the weekends. I think that's possible, but very, very difficult. I would talk to people when you're sort of hooking up with them online and like, hey, do you party? Yeah, yeah. Or no, you like sort of like a vague question so you can get the like, what do you think about drugs? Whatever. And you get to it. And then it's like, no one admits they're a daily user right away. But anyone who says they casually use is probably a daily user.
And there's usually a cycle that you can see is someone typically a daily user for quite a while, and then they start slamming, and that's the end. Or
I don't
is
know.
there not?
I
Is
don't
there
know.
really?
I mean, I wouldn't be the
There's
expert
no-
to speak
there's-
on that. I don't know. I don't want to
Okay.
speak to that experience.
But there's not a perceived wisdom of what the root is.
I mean, it does seem like it is very hard to resist slamming. Because it obviously looks, I mean, the high must be amazing, right? Like, no drug doesn't feel good, or you wouldn't do it,
That's why.
right?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it starts to feel less and less good, and then it doesn't feel good. But, like, you're always chasing the time it felt great. And
Sure.
it does sort
Yeah,
of
and-
sometimes feel almost as great, and you're always just like, trying to get there.
Yeah. And what's another friend who comes to mind, who has used crystal meth, was really much more of the hooking up online with guys who wanted to
Yep.
party,
Sure.
sort of using crystal meth. Was that a component?
Yeah.
Was the sex a big component all the time, and why?
Why? Because sex on meth is great. It is.
That's the big thing.
Yeah. But it wasn't like the big thing for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't what drove my use. It would obsess me more
It
than,
just
yeah,
happens.
I mean, it wouldn't just happen to me. I would be obsessed with it because here's one of the things for me. you're having a weekend. You're like, I really want to, like, you worked and whatever. I would work, but at least weekend I'm gonna go. I'd sleep. You know, you have to discipline yourself to sleep because you don't want to. And if you can manage that, then you can have a life. But you're like, the weekend I'm gonna stay up all weekend because you can stay up for 3, 4, 5 days. I never did more than 2, but 2 days.
2, some.
Up, right? Right. Think about where your mind starts to go.
That just seems like a lot of Grey's Anatomy.
That's almost all of it. I think you could probably maybe like two weeks of solid meth use, and you've gotten through all of Grey's Anatomy. Isn't that great?
Well, that's kind of an upside.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
Try to think about both sides of it. Don't come prejudged that meth is bad.
No, I'm just saying Netflix and COVID has told me that there's a lot of TV on this.
Yeah, right? If only I could focus now. Like, I can't focus still. I can't watch anything. I sit down and I'm like, I shouldn't be doing something. I should be saving the world more. And it's like, well, maybe you don't need to, but it's still hard for me. Like, coming off meth, I'm still balancing my system. So I still don't know when I've done the appropriate amount of work, because I have to push myself to work because I'm not getting that reward fully yet. So the reward kind of doesn't come. And especially being isolated, I do all this performance. Like, I'm constantly performing because I want to get 100 likes one time and feel like, ah, my God, people like me. Not entirely, right? But there is that, like, that would be the, yes. That makes it feel suddenly like, good, I got the reward. I did one dance where a friend of mine came out. I didn't know she was there. She was at a bar that I was dancing near. And she came out, and she, in the middle of the dance, runs into the shot. And I didn't know she was there. And the dance was very much like I was doing Bruce Springsteen, Brilliant Disguise. So it's a little bit like, not an up song for sure. You know, he's like saying, baby, is it me? Or is it, who am I kidding? Or who are you kidding? Or who are we kidding? Whatever, what he's saying in that song. So I was a little getting into that, like, hey, baby, be real with me, right? And then my friend comes up and it's like, and I fall down on the ground to my hands and knees. And literally, I start weeping a little bit that I would have fully done if I was like totally not restrained as a human being. I would have like fallen on the ground and just like wept because I was so happy, because that's sort of what I've been waiting for the whole time, and still am a little bit. Of like, I want people to join me. Like, I make it an isolated thing with my headphones because it's hard to put. I don't want to put a boombox down and be like, Flashdance, what a feeling, you know, like, it's Bronx, it's 1985. Look at the fire hydrants spraying and the black children dancing, and look at us go, we're alive. Look at that man in a cardboard box robot costume. I love this place.
That's a lot of aspiration,
Yeah, like,
right
that's
there.
every
I think
day.
You just described
Every
it.
day. Wallingford's not up for that. Wallingford wouldn't.
No, and it rains a
No.
lot. You know what rain is on a cardboard
It's hard.
costume? I know.
Do
I
you know
know.
what the Wallingford spirit is? I mean, I love it. But the Wallingford spirit would not be that scene I just pictured. There would be nice. There would be jams.
It's too hilly. It's
They
too
would be
hilly.
selling jams and some organic, nice jams for sure. And this one that's jalapeno. It's spicy jam. That's Wallingford, right? So I want to go out and have it be like Flashdance What a Feeling, but it's never going to be that. And I'm wearing these headphones. So, like, who's going to join me dancing? Like, but then my friend did. And that was a reward, right? So partly, I was talking about the reward system and work. Like, I'm still balancing, like, I'm not able to give myself that reward. I don't know how to do it. And said, like, you've done enough work for today. Like, you did 5 great, like, Jesus Christ, Stephen. How many more great dances does the world need? Like, they get it. But I'm still just like,
One more.
show me. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to be famous. Like, I've got a hunger to be famous now. It's just true.
Did you have one
No.
before?
No.
Because I've seen your work and you're going about it all wrong.
I know, right? I want to be famous. I know. But I want to be famous on my terms.
This is what they all say. Yeah.
So
Okay,
but the
got
thing
it.
is, right? But then the thing is, I get them or I don't. I don't care. Right?
Yeah,
Like, that's where I
yeah.
have to get. But, like, I'll be famous or I won't. But I'm trying. And this is how I'm doing it. And these are my rules and this is what I'll take. So if you're interested, like being in that neighborhood where I had like a couple of people doing the telenovelas. And eventually I realized these people would never hire me. Look at me in the street. They're gonna call me in to do their show? Are you crazy? You may be the most talented motherfucker in the world, but what are you doing? And that T-shirt in this neighborhood? They're not gonna hire you, right? Like I realized that.
No, that's career suicide.
Absolutely.
Career
But then I
suicide.
think, well, you know what? Who will? The Mexican people. So I'm going to charm everybody in Mexico City until they're just storming Telemundo, demanding that this white man have his show, or at least be the gay best friend on a telenovela. Ay, Dios mío!
Please.
That's my one line.
So that,
There's a Dios mío
that takes
guy.
us back to Mexico.
Dios mío!
Thank you. Next.
Damn it.
What? So you
I do German.
you stopped when you were in England, and
yeah.
then why did you stop again?
That's a longer story. We may
Why
not
have you
have time
stopped
for.
now?
We have 6 minutes. I can say that.
Do you want to do that
Yeah,
next time?
Yeah, I can say I can tease it.
Okay, this is the drug use. This is the drug use issue, or session. This is not the stopping.
Yeah,
the
sure.
drug use
But I'll say,
session.
but I'll
That's
say,
the next issue.
it came to a point where I would say the current situation was part of it in the world. As I became more aware, I mean, I was aware, but once I started figuring it out, because try going through all of this on meth, where you're already paranoid, and you're trying to be like, what's real, what's real, what's real. I'm not sure if I said that before, but that's like a gauge that I've been doing for a long time, because I'm like, is this actually happening or is this not actually happening? And a lot of times nobody knew, right? So I was like, well, and then I realized the gravity of the time that we're in. And I thought, I'm not any good to anybody in this state. And actually, it's exactly where they want me to be. Because I'm a capable, smart, talented person who can't get his shit together. Perfect. Right? So
Yeah.
I figured, well, that's part of my job now is like, I got to get it together. Easier said than done. And then this person enters my life, the person who I ended up going to Mexico for, who became a great piece of. I feel like it. Did you use this reference on you or somebody else? Like at the beginning of Kill Bill, or like what is the event beginning of Kill Bill, where she goes off to the dojo for years, to like learn. Like the person I went to there, that's what it felt like to me. Like I was getting in my jumpsuit, I arrived in Mexico, and I'm like, what's all this about? And it's just like, ching! Oh! And then like I had to like learn real fast, and that was part of it. And he was a very strong disciplinarian, not physically, but just like harsh, and that's what I needed. And so
Yeah.
it was for a person also, as well as for myself. There was a person that I cared about who said, I'm not interested in entering this, even whatever level it is, if you're in that state. And I said, well, I'm going to change it. So I didn't do it for that person, but I used that person as one of a series of motivations towards doing it. You know what I mean? Because it's no good if you're like,
Yeah,
I'm going to quit for you, because like, well, good luck with that one. Right? Like,
Yeah.
that pressure on that person, A, and then B, like, well, we all have lives. And in 6 months, what if they're not still around? Do you care enough about yourself to keep going? Right.
Yeah.
So, but it can be
Yeah.
a motivator, like
It could
sex
be a
can be a
way out.
motivator, like all these things that are like, here's the reward for doing it. That's nice.
Yeah. How's the relationship right
Oh, it's
now?
so
with him now that you're
complicated.
here?
We could talk about it another time. It's endlessly.
No, I actually I meant more like, is it okay or is it
Well,
all
with
right?
who? With that person?
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That becomes
Okay,
a
good.
great.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah. And things are complicated as they've ever been between the two of us now that I'm back in the United States. And we could talk about more about that. But it's delightful. I love him very much. Whatever complexity our relationship has in what we both think we're doing and what we both don't even know we're doing, he's engaged in it. And it's fun,
Yeah.
It's fun to live in this like more. I've always been more traditionalist in the sense of relationships, and so I haven't really explored the idea of how do you let someone close to you, but also know that there are limitations to what it is, but also really let them get close to you. Like I keep myself a bit protected, so to say to somebody, I'm letting you into my real me, but I don't know where that's going to go. That doesn't mean we have to get married. That doesn't mean who knows. The future is who knows. And you do what you do, and I do what I do.
Does he know you're a married man?
Wow, you just said it. He will now.
Yeah, I did. If you're listening, take a break from watching small dances. And
You think he watches all of them? No, he says, "Good job, honey." I mean, like, can you watch a dance with me? He's like, sigh. You're good. You're good. Who do you need to tell? Who's going to tell you that? Well, can you watch this one? Though I did for you.
That's the upside of COVID. I don't have to go to theater anymore.
Totally. But you got to watch my dances. He does anyway. 400 of them. 400. So that's a lot to ask of anybody. Pay attention to me.
You ask how it's going?
I'm talking about everybody else, but it's about me. But I'm talking about saving the world. I'm saving the world. See me dancing about saving the world and everyone's problems, but it's my problem. Look how you like my dancing? Am I getting the point across? Do you think? How am I doing?
Click.
Hello?
Hello?
Why does no one want to talk to me?
Hello? Oh, the call dropped again.
Hi, it's me again. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Wow.
Oh, I do. Oh, it happened
Wow.
again. Yeah.
Wow, you were really direct. You were very direct. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for telling me the truth right away. Wow, though, Mom.
Thank you. I think that's a good sign. That's a good
Mom,
sign.
you could have softened the blow a bit, Mom, but I appreciate it. I always
Appreciate it.
You know what? You saved a lot of time for both of us. I'm an adult. Deal with it.
Check it out.
Yep. That's my message
Nice.
to America.
So-
Deal with it.
So, how do you think this is all going? Is this going okay for you?
This whole conversation?
This
Yeah.
whole thing that we're
Yeah,
doing.
I love it. I love
Okay,
it.
good.
Do you?
Yes,
Yes,
I do.
absolutely.
Yeah, I do very much.
I was going to turn the spotlight on you
so-
next time, though. Well, I guess after we...
All right. I did prepare. I did
Oh my
prepare a few
God,
remarks.
Okay, here we go. My question. That wasn't my question. That did not address my question. Can please you put it aside your notes and let's talk extemporaneously about why religion is not evil. And we can talk about that another time. Drop that bomb.
Fantastic. Got it. Easy. So
Get your liturgy out. Okay, why is religion not evil?
Next
Why
week-
is religion not evil? Oh my God, anybody? Anybody?
where is it? Where
He's
is
really
it?
gonna ask me, I
Page is
think.
missing. So next week,
Yeah.
some more. I was thinking maybe we'll see if Jason's able to listen to this one and the
Yeah.
one before, and then we'll get some good feedback from him about some
Yeah,
tech issues
absolutely.
or about story or where
Yeah,
it's going.
and as soon as
what he's thinking.
I don't know what his upside is in helping us, but when he gets them edited, I want to publish them as soon as possible. I feel like that's like the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah,
is like,
I think it's good. And I'm thinking, rather than doing like, okay, this is we're doing this forever.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of if we do like a 3 to 5 episode. And
yeah,
we're done.
that's perfect. That
And
helps
we
focus
just-
the
and then what-
conversation. Because otherwise we could be like, yeah, you know what, donuts are the best donuts for me?
Yeah, it's like, which is a project. I don't think it's this project.
Wow, thank you for supporting
but-
me. No one else will support my donut project. I have a GoFundMe campaign. I'll send you the link.
Really?
In chat. I'm sending it right now.
Thank you. Yeah, right. Be the first donor. So
Raised so far. Oh. How long? A month?
Nothing. Kick
A
in 5.
month?
Kick
Your
in
parents
5.
didn't even? Wow. Not even $5.
They've been burnt before. So
We have to hang this painting in our dining room. It's part of the project, I guess. Oh, God.
is it his penis? I don't know.
I think it's a dog. I don't know what it is.
I don't even know. Oh, cool.
But it spurts
Lord.
every day at 6 and shoots
No,
something out of it.
It's put me off dairy permanently.
I mean,
so,
I'm lactose intolerant, of course.
oh, good. I am now.
That's the name of the piece.
Okay. Okay,
Yes,
moving on.
sorry.
Yeah,
really.
I will send you some possibilities,
Yeah.
but we'll be in touch about your work schedule too.
Well, you
'cause
know
I
what?
that you'll be
Next
working
week, it's not going to start next week. They're not going to. I had a great interview, America, but I won't be able to find out. They just won't let me know for sure until mid next week, and then I wouldn't start till the week after that. So really, we could talk every day. I got nothing going, and so it helps me to have a schedule. You know what I'm saying. So anytime works
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you is great for you, and we would think about doing how many more than like 3 more. We've done 3. Like, I guess we can talk about that. Let's talk about the specifics once Jason's
That
here.
seems like a good idea.
Yeah. And I think it's a great idea to keep
That
it
seems like a
contained.
good idea.
Like a British series, you know?
3.
Like, it's enough.
Exactly. When they're done, they're done. Yeah.
Like, Lost, you know when you should have been done? Like 6 seasons ago. No one knows what's happening.
Well, how about? You know what makes me nervous is they're still filming Grey's Anatomy.
I know.
It's 18 years in it.
Tighten the story up. Tighten her arc. Tighten her arc. She could have made it there by now. I think she's there. Wherever she was going, I think she got there. And now what's she doing? She's just idling. Like, isn't she the king of the hospital now? Like, what is she doing?
Episode after episode.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah,
So we'll be in
absolutely.
touch.
It was a great
Great.
conversation.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye bye.